I'm shaking my head. I'm not even trying to pose for the camera. I'm not even trying to set up right. I'm just like shaking my fucking head. I'm just like disgusted. I knew, just like everyone else. It's not a secret. You guys knew. You guys aren't stupid. You guys knew just as well when Will Smith ruined his fucking 20-year career image of just being that totally nice, down-to-earth type of dude. The only time I had seen him got pissed is when that freaking psycho French reporter tried to kiss him on the lips, and he did the same thing, like punch back, slap back. I think he just went for the slap again. I mean, dude, he played Muhammad Ali. I mean, he went to boxing classes. Why isn't he punching? Like, if he would have punched Chris Rock, that would have been a whole different story. I think right then and there, I think, he would have got assault charges if he punched him. But the fact that he outweighs Chris Rock, the fact that who the fuck is at my door at this time of day? Oh my god, let me put this shit on pause real quick, because nobody should be coming to my door at this time of the day. Man, hold up, I'll be back. Totally forgot. Having the house reshingled and gutters replaced, so yeah, they came to measure. So my bad about the little interruption there, but let me get to it. Look at this. I try to keep the channel between PG-13 and on the edge or rated R, no nudity, just language. But
behind me on the DJ table is one of the most prolific producers that hip hop.
That's what I don't get. Right here. All these comedians, all these, stand-up guys. You're telling me there's not one security guard there? Because this fool hops up from over here. It should take but maybe 4 strides to take his ass down before he even reaches Chappelle. I know Chappelle walks back a little bit this way. I mean, the guy's, calculating this. Like, okay, I'm going to get him when I get him the closest. But I want to see how close he gets.
Has ever presented the mighty Mad Lib. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise.
Right there. Now, that's about a halfway distance. And Chappelle's looking at this like, okay, this shit ain't normal. I'm doing a breakdown, thorough breakdown, because I'm pissed. Chappelle's one of my favorite ever since Charlie Murphy.
Noise for hip hop history.
Then he's like, he already sees it right there. Look at him. He's like one of those Spaniards, with the red flag, even though, bulls don't see red. It makes no sense why they would, use red flags, but that's neither here nor there. And for being as old as he is, and people don't realize he's not small. He's not as small as you think he is. Dude got buff. He's tall. He's not small. And you can tell this fool never tackled anybody in his life. I mean, first off, he's leading with his head. Dude's lucky he didn't break his damn neck if he would have hit Chappelle straight on, because I just say that because I used to play football. My ass, I always talk about my former weight being 325, 330 pounds. It's not the way you lead, tackle. Not with your head. Nope, never. You could sometimes accidentally go head to head when, you're tackling, 2 people are tackling the same person, like Ryan Shazier, which breaks my heart, man. I hated seeing that. That was awful. But anyways, I don't want to track too much here. So you see Chappelle. Still got some action here. Moves out of the way for the most part. Almost completely did some Aikido type of freaking martial arts, which is basically more like disarming and self-defense more than, offense. It's not like jiu-jitsu or MMA. It's more like, avoiding types of conflicts, avoiding types of punches or things like this. So he tries to tackle him. David Chappelle kind of falls. Yeah, he fell. And by the time his ass is already on the ground, here's the first person I mean, were they even paying attention, or were they just over there smoking weed or something? I don't know. Dude takes a hard fall, and he's a big boy, you can tell. I think he knocked himself the hell out. Look at this dude. Can't tackle. And Chappelle, go play by play. See, I would be like John Madden, like circling, like, this right here, he just ran a counter, and it fooled the whole defense, and the defense went here to this way, but back, counter to the right, lead blocker. I know I don't sound like Madden. Chappelle kind of moves out of it, almost throws his ass to the ground. I think just his momentum. I don't think the guy tackled him. It was just his momentum moving out of the way. And Chappelle lands on his.
I am going to kill that. Wait, I gotta see this.
Jamie Foxx is there feeding his ass. American standards, goddammit. We're politically shifting, and this channel is not about stuff like this. You guys know, for the most part, what gets the most views on here, and it's always gonna be Alejandro Aranda, Scary Pool Party. That's who I basically focused on because that started getting me the most views. Now, I'm not gonna say that I tapped into that strictly for that. I love the dude's music. He's like a one-of-a-kind artist, a generational artist, and I want to see him flourish, and I keep on making videos because I want to get him to get his name out there. I just kept on saying, you know, wrong place, wrong time, because pandemic started, you know, entertainment industry probably, you know, was hit the hardest because it wasn't a necessity. And, you know, you were seeing NBA games where they're pumping in fan music, you know, the volume of fans, you know, all the fakery of, you know, 3D cutouts and all this stuff. I don't watch the NBA, so I can't really say for sure. I just remember hearing, you know, all the fans and all the cutouts and shit like that. But the entertainment industry suffered a lot from that, and I think that's what really hindered, you know, Scary Pool Parties, you know, coming out party. Like, I think if that shit never happened, he would have been a lot bigger, and he's going to get bigger. I would put some money on that. I would put some money on that right now and say, you know what, he's going to be bigger than this. But now that everything's back, and now that Will Smith fucked it up for all comedians, because he goes up there, he's laughing at a joke, he looks at his hood wife, and you know what, if people want to talk shit to me about that, that's fine, but make no mistake, I mean, even she said it herself, she used to sell dope. You know what comes with dope? I'm not even gonna say it. You know, I don't know her, and like I said, I don't like to attack people personally if I don't know them, but if she says it out loud in front of everybody, and she talks about their open relationship, and I don't even know the dude that she hooked up with, Augustus or August, I guess he's some rapper. I don't follow the rap anymore. Once I got out of the industry, I stopped really, I got out before all the mumble rappers, and I don't even know if he's a mumble rapper, so, and I grew up with, I mean, when Dave Chappelle came, like, when I first heard of him, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I was like, you know, oh yeah, I followed Dave Chappelle since day one. No, I followed him on Comedy Network when he first came out with Charlie Murphy, you know, and Rick James and Prince, and still underrated when he played Sean Combs, and then he played the rapper from Making the Band. I still love that. You're gonna have to go find me the finest breast milk from a Jamaican. That shit was funny. But yeah, this dude is getting his ass beat now in the corner. You can hear it. The dude's
Thank
like
God.
stomping his ass.
That was clumsy.
See, dude never tackled anybody in his life. Never.
He's back there getting stomped.
Look at his arm broken. Oh my god. Whoa, dude was carrying a fucking deadly weapon. Look at his arm, man. You know, I don't usually like to see stuff like that. But you know, they just really don't give a shit, it seems like right now. I mean, you could tell the side of his face I was on the floor and the side of the face I was getting kicked and booted. You know what? I hate to say this about people, but when they do shit like this with the intention of hurting somebody, you know, I know there's a lot of embellishment too from law enforcement, but when they're saying, you know, on suspicion, there's no suspicion of assault. The suspicion lies with the use of a deadly weapon. That's where the suspicion lies. That I'd be curious to find out about. The highlight, which I hope they highlight, and if they don't, then I'll say it at the end.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? that was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television.
That shit right there. Chris Rock later came out, and you guys probably seen it. You guys probably seen 100 of these today. Comes out and says, "Was Dave Chappelle or was Will Smith here?" You know, the sad part is that this shit is going to continue. So thank you, Will Smith, for keeping that clean image for all those years, just fucking up by one little very small joke that was, when my wife looked like that, I'd be looking at her and like, come on, man, have a sense of humor, you know. Since when did you have alopecia? You don't have it on the red table talk, whatever, you know, but you know, I'm just happy that I heard it first from this man, because you want to get your
the Joe
sources.
Rogan Experience.
This dude.
So this fucking Dave Chappelle thing's crazy. Last night, I guess it was, someone attacked him at the Hollywood Bowl. He's fine. I checked in with him today. He was laughing about it. He's in good spirits. There's a video actually. He was laughing like right afterwards.
Yeah.
Because Jamie Foxx apparently had a cowboy hat. He jumped on stage to help. Jamie Foxx with a cowboy hat jumped on stage to fuck that dude up. The guy was 5 foot. That arm's broken, by the way. That arm's fucked. There is also like the way they led him into the like when he got into the actual stretcher, you could see he's fucked.
It's so funny. You can tell the type of beat up that somebody is when they're getting kicked on the ground from different angles by different people. It's a different type of like beat up look.
Yeah.
You could tell that left side of his face was the side that was either on the ground or totally like away from everything.
And the other side was getting punched.
Just everything's swollen on the one side.
Yeah, he's fucked. That guy. You mean Jesus Christ?
You could tell. You can always tell because you saw the actual video?
I saw the video. First of all, Dave Chappelle has good hips. Because the guy shoots
he almost
in
sprawled
on him, and he kind of turned with him. He kind of kung fu'd him.
Yeah.
He came a little Aikido. Have you watched the video? As the guy's coming in, he's coming in this way, and Dave kind of like turns a little.
And it's balls too. Chappelle's a big boy, bigger than you think he is.
Well, the guy's crazy. Clearly, there's something wrong
I
with
did
him.
see this clip, but I was saying that.
There's just no way to describe how not expecting that you are when you're on stage.
Yeah. Look at he just.
God, how many of these are gonna happen now? Like they're gonna have to ramp up security. You know, I don't know the girl's name. She made herself very popular on YouTube. Beautiful girl, beautiful voice. I believe she played the guitar, instruments. She did, she caught the attention and was doing some opening acts, and I believe it was in Florida, and there was one of these psycho-obsessed fans, and as she's signing autographs and just being very pleasant, to everybody, I mean, whether or not it's a part of her job to, needing to be pleasant for a little bit, dude just walks up to her, fires 4 rounds right at her head, and her brother sees this and helps subdue this asshole. And I might be wrong, but I think the dude shot himself before they could get him. But I mean, it's like, what, are we gonna have security checkpoints now anytime we go to a comedy club or a comedy special? I mean, society right now, if you ever watch the YouTube video shorts, they're very interesting because you'll see some, like I love listening to Jordan Peterson, when that's a wrong term to use. Women use feminism as a sign that times haven't really changed. And I would totally disagree with that. I've worked for women who are in a higher position than me. It bothered me absolutely zero. I did not give a damn. I respected it. I'm not going to give any names. I'll just say this. She was head of publishing for a big publisher when we were releasing one of the first albums that I was actually part of when I finished my internship, and respected her immensely. It didn't bother me. And the thing that I don't understand, and this is why I love listening to Joe Rogan, is that he always takes, any of his podcasts that you listen to, and I would suggest if you guys haven't listened to him talk, listen to him talk, because he always starts off, the best way to describe is in the middle. He doesn't take a position until he knows facts, not speculation, not hearsay, not gossip, but facts. So for instance, they've talked about several people, but they'll talk something about, let's say, before the whole Jeffrey Epstein, when that started kicking up, he didn't put him in that category until he finally knew. And that's when things just kind of went to shit. shit. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I've had to pause this video so many times. Just if I lose my train of thought, or if I wasn't at where I left off at. But you know, listening to Joe Rogan, especially a guy who's made a living, you know, as a stand-up comic, and you know now has the largest, you know, podcast in the world.
Just runs away.
And then the comedian clicks in and he comes back because he's like, wait, I have to my mic right now.
Look at this guy running. Oh my God, that guy's never tackled anybody in his life.
No, Chappelle almost makes it clear out all the way.
Yeah, almost. If he just had a little training. See, that was all an instinct. If he just had a little training. Imagine if he just punted that dude in the head when he went down.
Yeah, one of those Masvidal knees.
There is no security in the front row at this thing. Like, there should have been someone there that was scanning the audience for fucking weirdos that are ready to sprint.
Crazy.
Well, we live in strange times, man. I mean, and after the Chris Rock thing, that was one of the things I was worried about. I was like, are people thinking they're going to start smacking comedians now? They don't like what they're saying?
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking, or what I'm worried about, is that, you know, people think that's justified. Like, people keep using the same things. I saw an article. They said his transphobic statements.
That's where I was getting at. Trying to be politically correct. Now I'm going to tell you all a story. Love her to death. And I always call her a little girl, but she's not. She's probably 5 years younger than me. My cousin. First cousin. Her dad was like the patriarch of the family. More so than even my father. And I remember certain bits and pieces, but while I love my dad, my uncle was the first one to teach me how to tie a tie when my grandfather died. He would, you know, when I was a little kid, I remember bits and pieces of this, but my mom would tell me before they had their daughter, that him and my aunt would send me, you know, mind you, this is early 80s, so this is before, you know, all the seatbelt regulations and child seats, but he would just have me sitting on his lap or sitting on my aunt's lap or sitting in the middle of their caddy, just cruising around with me, you know, just a fulfilling, fun life. And my family, my dad's side of the family at least, like, my mom is, and I know a lot of people will say this about their mom, but she's a saint. My dad, on the other hand, him, I don't know about my uncle who I'm speaking about, but I know him and the majority of my other uncles, they all own these dive bars in the northern part of the city. And I know what they were dealing. I mean, my brother and my older cousins, my brother is 9 years older than me, they told me what they found in this huge ass house that I grew up in. They told me, you know, all I needed to know, you know, for that era. I remember there was nothing I wanted for. I had every single Star Wars, He-Man, G.I. Joe toy, everything that I ever wanted. My dad loved me unconditionally, never laid a hand on me, but when it was time to be like a parent, he wasn't there. So that's where my uncle would step in, and he really, like I said, he was more responsible than the rest of my uncles and even my dad. So that's why we always said he was like the patriarch, the leader of the family. Because my grandfather got sick, got cancer, you know, died when I was really young. So that's why I said he taught me how to tie a tie. And, you know, always taught me, you know, to respect others no matter what your differences are, you know. I was used to being calling Taco Bender, freaking Wetback Spick. I mean, even for fun. Because, you know, if you don't let it bother you, I mean, I got, you know, a tuition to play football for a school that is Christianly, air quotes, yet when I get hurt, you might need to find another place to go to school. Are you really? Like, you're just gonna use me like that. You know, that's the Christianly way. Not saying that all Christians are like this, and I'm not diverting from what happened here with Dave Chappelle. I'm trying to make a point, and usually when people hear me talk, I always go into long rants just to try to get to this point. But what he was talking about, societal issues, you know, I was so disappointed. But you know, your religious beliefs, your beliefs as a whole, isn't belief in men, in the church, in whatever it is that you believe in. It should never be placed in humanity. It should be placed in what your faith is in. If you put faith in humanity, you are always going to be let down, no matter what the hell you want to believe with all your heart. You're always going to be let down. If you believe and if you have faith, whether that be God, whether that be, you know, Catholicism. I know they're, you know, Christianity and Catholicism, they vary quite a bit. So does, you know, Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints. For a while there, I was, you know, I had this, she wasn't quite my girlfriend, but her family was a Jehovah's Witness. She went away from that. Last I seen, you know, she's back in Jehovah's Witness, and she used to talk so badly about it. And Leah Remini's show, I absolutely love her show, and I would suggest you guys go watch it. You know, exposing Scientology and some of these other religions as, you know, much as they are like a cult. And, you know, once you start putting your trust and belief in men who say, for instance, I love this new pope. This new pope is, from what I know, you guys might know a lot more than I do, but even though I'm not a Catholic, and my dad's family, like my dad's side of the family, they grew up Catholic. I grew up non-denominational Christian. You know, from what I've heard and seen of this new pope, like he, you know, has really put his foot down on these, you know, child predators. He has put his foot down on, you know, the Bishop of Bling. You know, had a $3 million freaking bathtub and toilet. Like, are you kidding me? You know, it made him go to a convent that was dirt poor. I mean, that's the way you do it. I mean, has said that, you know, he doesn't believe homosexuality is going to lead you to hell. You know, people that are hardcore Catholics are not going to be happy to hear that. But people who are like, you know, really, I don't understand the questions now when I'm filling out a form like, you know, what do you associate yourself with, male, female, non-binary? I don't even know what the hell that means. I really don't. Call me ignorant, call me stupid, call me not caught up for the times, but I have no idea what that means. You know, and I'm thinking to myself, like, not applicable. Why do they need to know? They've always needed to know. Census, I get it. But my point is this. With each generation, since I've been born, there's a dramatic shift. And what you're going to see is it's maybe 1 or 2 more generations before everything is just shifted completely into a different augmented type of reality. I mean, we're already playing around with it with, you know, virtual reality, but it's not going to be much longer until, you know, our conscious or our thoughts and feelings can be controlled in a way that we may not understand now. I mean, from 1940 till now, look at how much technology has changed. I mean, from the very first micro circuit board to all of a sudden being able to reach millions of people through a computer, a webcam, a microphone, and I need to get my nice webcam back. It fell and cracked and stuff. I need to go take it back. I just have this one on spare, but I'm gonna get that thing back. But yeah, I mean, our whole societal norms have shifted. I grew up, and if you don't want to hear this, I'm sorry, but I grew up on the words that were, nowadays offensive. Retard, faggot, wetback, taco bender. I was called some of those things at this Christian school that I went to, and that's even what my student counselor warned me of. She's like, you know what, you coming here, she's like, you might face a little bit of prejudices. She's like, not only from the student body, but from staff. Well, it wasn't from the student body, not one bit. The only crazy question I ever got asked by anybody in that school was, are you in a gang? No, I'm not in a gang. Oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, everybody was friends with me. I didn't get my freshman initiation like everybody else did, because the senior that got me was like, thought that I was like gonna be pissed or something. Like, no, like, I'm one of the laid back, most mellow dudes you'll ever meet. Like, I stayed athletic. Even though I was a big guy, I stayed athletic. I mean, I joined boxing, and those of you who box know that everything's by weight class. My very first match, I'm like, yeah, I'm the shit, this and that. I got knocked down like in 5 seconds. My very second match, I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit more experienced. Got knocked down in 15 seconds. Then after that, I'm like, you know what? Don't be cocky about it. Do what they taught you. And then I started getting better. But I, to this day, have never been in a street fight. And I can say that proudly, because I would de-escalate everything. And even though I just use those words that I do not mean to offend anybody by, and the story where I was going with my uncle is this. Their little daughter, my cousin, Marissa, she, by all accounts, and I don't know how this happened, but it's been told to me in several different ways that she was born normal and then something happened, or she was born like this. But she was born where she didn't have full brain growth, and her head was almost like how you would see like a concubine, women back in China who used to, wrap their feet, that it was a sign of beauty. Almost like that, like her head was very misshapen when she was a child. And I don't remember this as a child, I just remember her mannerisms. And, she has, to this day, outlived the amount of time that the doctors had given her back then. She's nearly, I'm 42. She's nearly going to be 40, and I always still call her a little girl because that's what she reminds me of. She really doesn't look like she's aged past her teenage years. The only thing she could do is clap and make noises. So she probably, she has the brain of like maybe a 1.5 to 2 month old. And if there was any redeeming factor about my father, was before he started getting sick, he started really, spending time with her and taught her how to say hi, taught her how to say bye, taught her how to wave. And that made it all better for me, that all the times he wasn't there, at least he redeemed himself in some way. And on his deathbed, apologized, to me, to my mom, to everybody that he did wrong. And those were redeeming factors. Now, what does that all have to do with, everything that happened to Dave Chappelle? And this is that the sudden shift from, the way we grew up and the way that we would explain things, that now are considered extremely offensive, that everybody, including myself, I'm no exception, has an opinion and could express that opinion to, however many others, and if it goes viral, then yeah, so many more people hear it. But you just can't say shit anymore without somebody getting offended. And that is just so goddamn sad that I hate it. And, you know, I'm not going to plagiarize because Joe Rogan's the one who said it. In 2 generations from now, it's not going to, it's, you know, not to say like we're going to be controlled, but everything's just going to be completely different. You know, the comedy of the old days with Richard Pryor saying the N-word, or, you know, Eddie Murphy saying the N-word, or, you know, anything that was used that nowadays is like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. It's, I call it the sissification of of how I grew up. You had, like, I bitched up a storm if I couldn't go outside and play. Now, you cannot get kids to go outside for shit. And if they do, there they are out there with their iPad or their iPhone. I mean, it's sad. You know, me and my friends would go to the creek, you're freaking, you know, build little clubhouses out of freaking plywood we would find, or you know, what the hell are they called? Pallets. Get dirty, ride our bikes down these steep ass hills, and when you conquered it, like, yeah, I'm not scared of this, until you fall and then you fuck up your knee and all that, then it's like, fuck this hill. Those days are gone. They're completely gone. And I drove back through my own neighborhood, not where that big ass house that I grew up in, because I think you guys know what I'm getting at when I'm saying why we had that big ass house and why my family, on my dad's side of the family, owned these little dive bars, what was going on. But when they divorced, I moved right near the projects, and then my mom became extremely successful, working for 2 governors and then IBM in the mid to late 80s. That was a huge thing. And so life changed. But, you know, she had her hardships as well, because she wasn't born here, but my grandmother was, which made her legal. She moved here when she was like in 8th grade, had to learn English, and to get to that, you know, that pinnacle, where she attended the same college that Condoleezza Rice did, you know, DU, very, you know, I'm not gonna say it's like an MIT or anything, but it's still a prestigious school. You know, gets a job with IBM at such a young age, and has such a heart of gold that she worked for a nonprofit organization helping people with disabilities that I also worked for before I got into the entertainment industry. I have a heart for that. So by me saying those words, I'm only using those words in the context of how I grew up when I was a kid, when I was being insulted, being called a fat ass, being called, you know, wetback, a beaner, this and that. Those were the comeback words that we would say, and sometimes even, you know, gay slurs that even go beyond just saying the F word. And you can't say that now. And that's what that dude got pissed off about, because towards the end of the show, Dave Chappelle was talking about an experience he had with, you know, transgenderism, and a friend of his who had committed suicide because of the societal views are not 100% aligned with what people who go through those transgender reassignments. And again, I don't know if that's politically correct to say, but, you know, I don't want to start seeing this happen. You know, like, comedy, laughter is, like I was saying last night on one of the videos, I keeps on getting copy striked. I don't know why. But laughter is such a big part of our lives. And I think that laughter and music are so universal, you know, in every culture, in every tribe. I mean, all the way back. Music has always been around, and we need laughter in our lives. You know, if we didn't have, you know, laughter, if we didn't have that, you know, if we kept ourselves lonely and isolated and not have that social contact with people, which, like I said, Joe Rogan, postulated that, look at 2 generations that might happen. That's sad. And then you get this guy who gets upset because a comedian is telling a joke. It is a joke. It is advertised as a joke. It is not advertised as My Opinions, Dave Chappelle's Roadshow. It's advertised as a joke, and that's what comedy has always been, a joke. It's just, they have roasts. And if you heard roasts are 10 times harsher than jokes. But they're forewarned, mind you, this is just a joke. They're just, gonna touch on personal shit. They're gonna say this, they're gonna say that. One I heard, for instance, was, Pete Davidson, where they made fun of his father being killed on 9/11, and he makes fun of it too. It's a roast. You're not gonna get your feelings hurt about it, but when somebody hears something that they don't want to hear by a comedian, ever since Will Smith now, I just don't want to see the shift to that. That's my thoughts and views on that. Sorry for the rant, but if you decided to stick around and listen, I appreciate it. But yeah, let me know what you think. Any comment, any like, all that's always appreciated. Hit that like button even if you didn't like it. Subscribe if you like. If you don't like, you don't have to subscribe, but at least leave your thoughts. If you think I'm way the fuck off base, then, I'll look at it a totally different way. Listen to more people that are more versed in this than I am. So, anyways, guys, I want to put out some music. I want to lighten the flow here. So, thank you guys for watching this if you did. And, yeah, I'll be right back.